coverage you can count on. This is WTVM News Leader 9. Sponsored by Montlick & Associates, Columbus Injury Attorneys.
A crime that has shocked the nation. 2 TV journalists gunned down on live television this morning. We'll have new details about the gunman and hear from the boyfriend of one of the victims straight ahead.
And a former Auburn Tiger on the football field was in court today for a crime he committed more than 3 years ago. We'll explain why he hasn't served any time behind bars yet.
Also, hundreds of millions of dollars streaming into Columbus thanks to people who don't live here. Find out how the tourism business is growing locally. Good evening. Welcome to News Leader 9 at 11. I'm Jason Dennis.
And I'm Barbara Goche. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Topping our news tonight, the community is coming together to mourn the TV reporter and photographer shot dead on live television this morning in Roanoke, Virginia. Police say WDBJ reporter Allison Parker and photographer Adam Ward both died when a disgruntled former co-worker and reporter identified as Vester Flanagan opened fire on them while they were conducting a live interview. The suspect would later die from a self-inflicted gunshot.
A third woman was wounded in that shooting but is in stable condition. Parker's boyfriend, meantime, also a reporter at the station, was emotional when discussing his girlfriend earlier today.
This is my memory of her. When we had our 6-month anniversary, she made a scrapbook for me and put in all of the pictures that we spent together for the first 6 months. Even pictures I didn't want to be in there. She put them in there. We were a perfect couple.
Chris Hurst says Parker and slain photographer Adam Ward were like brother and sister. The man who pulled the trigger called himself a, quote, powder keg waiting to ignite in a fax he sent to ABC News. Vester Flanagan, who went by the name Bryce Williams on air, was a TV reporter who complained of discrimination and didn't always leave his jobs on good terms. 2 years ago, management at WDBJ had to call police after firing Flanagan because the reporter refused to leave.
Well, Flanagan posted messages on his Twitter before the attack that said Allison Parker made racist comments and that Adam Ward called HR on him. He faxed that 23-page suicide note to ABC News 2 hours after the attack, where he also claimed the June Charleston church massacre was the final straw that pushed him to plan today's attack. And stay with News Leader 9 on air and online as we continue to follow developments in this story. Other news tonight, News Leader 9 has learned one of the 4 Auburn University football players sentenced in a 2011 home invasion robbery hasn't served any of his time. Instead, Kowalski Kitchens has been playing football at North Carolina's Shaw University and recently declared for the NFL draft. News Leader 9's Elizabeth White has been tracking this story. She joins us live now from our East Alabama newsroom. And Elizabeth, can you first give us some background on this case?
Barbara, I sure can. Back in 2011, Auburn police arrested 4 Auburn University football players, Kowalski Kitchens, Dakota Mosley, Antonio Goodwin, and Michael McNeil, for a home invasion armed robbery. The story made national headlines, and all 4 players were kicked off Auburn University's national championship football team. Now, Goodwin went to trial. He was found guilty and was sentenced to 15 years. McNeil, Mosley, and Kitchens pled guilty and received a 15-year split sentence, and they were ordered to serve 3 years in prison. Goodwin, McNeil, and Mosley have been serving their time, but Kitchens hasn't served 1 second of his sentence. Here's what we know so far. Kowalski Kitchen enters a Lee County courtroom Wednesday as the Lee County District Attorney looks to revoke his split sentence and have him serve all 15 years in an Alabama prison. The judge set a hearing on that issue for October 6th. Here's the background. In the September 2013 plea agreement, Judge Christopher Hughes ordered Kitchens to serve weekends at the Wake County Detention Facility in North Carolina. Kitchens could play football on a scholarship at nearby Shaw University. Here's his name on their 2014 roster, then served the remaining of his sentence after graduation.
Beginning the first weekend of spring semester, so January the 24th of 2014, he turns himself into the jail every weekend, spring break, and then the summertime.
Did that happen?
That did not happen.
Court documents indicate in June of 2014, the Lee County DA learned Kitchens was not serving his time and an arrest warrant was issued. It took a year, but Kitchens was arrested back in June in Atlanta and brought back to the Lee County Detention Facility. What was he doing all this time? What's he been up to?
He, actually what he's been doing, he went to school, he played 2 seasons of football, and after December of 2014, he declared for the NFL draft to play professional football, and he's been trying to live out his dream ever since then.
While Kitchens was, quote, living out his dream without serving his sentence, all 3 of his former teammates are serving their time in the Alabama prison system. Stanley did not represent Kitchens during his plea deal, but says he's never seen a judge sentence a defendant to spending time in another state's prison.
None of my clients have ever received any sentence like that since I've been practicing law.
A Wake County Corrections employee flew down from North Carolina for Wednesday's hearing. She testified Kitchens spent a total of 3 hours in their jail on a separate matter, way before he was even sentenced for the Auburn armed robbery. She also testified her detention facility never received an order from Lee County detailing Kitchens' incarceration at their facility. And even if she had, she testified, she did not think they could enforce it.
No, because she testified even if she had received an order, she still would not have been able to enforce it.
Correct.
She testified to that as well.
That's correct.
Judge Hughes says ethics laws prevent him from commenting on the case. DA Robbie Tree says he wants Kitchens to now serve the entire 15-year sentence and will comment after the matter is settled. Stanley says evidence will show Kitchens had no intentions of disobeying the court order.
But doesn't your client have a responsibility to make sure, personal responsibility-wise, he is carrying out what he has been ordered to do by the judge? Where's the personal responsibility in this?
Again, that goes to the merits of this case that we'll hear about on October the 6th.
So tonight, nobody, including Kitchens' defense attorney, prosecutors with the Lee County DA's office, or the judge will comment on whose responsibility it was to make sure Kitchens was serving his time in North Carolina. Now, we have reached out to the Attorney General's office for clarification on the sentence to see if an Alabama judge can order an Alabama defendant to serve time in an out-of-state prison.
Now, lots of unanswered questions, Liz, but both sides say we're going to learn more details about the case during that October 6th hearing, but that hearing may not happen, right?
That's correct, Barbara. Andrew Stanley tells me he hopes to work out a deal with prosecutors for a new sentence for Kitchens before that October 6th hearing. So this issue may never play out in open court for the public to figure out what happened, but we will do the best we can to figure out what exactly happened, because it does appear, Barbara, someone dropped the ball.
And another quick question, Elizabeth. What about Shaw University? Did they know Kitchens was supposed to be serving the time on the weekends while he was playing football for them?
Well, Barbara, those 2 questions are exactly what we will ask them when they return our phone calls. I've got a call into Shaw's president, the athletic director as well. And Barbara, it does appear they were aware of Kitchens' armed robbery and legal troubles, because according to his attorney, he says Shaw offered him a scholarship in 2012. That was after his arrest in Auburn. Again, this is a developing story, and we'll continue to follow it. Barbara.
Very interesting, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for the information there tonight.
Other news tonight, new numbers just coming into our newsroom today about millions of new visitors to Columbus. Leaders say the Fountain City has proven to be a desired destination. News Leader 9's Irisha Jones is here now with some of those numbers. Irisha?
Results of the new study sent to us today shows many people come to Columbus for various events, and all the visitors are making big contributions to local and regional economies. For the fiscal year 2015, more than 1.8 million visitors traveled to Columbus. For the fiscal year 2014, the city saw 1.7 million people. Events and attractions like whitewater rafting, religious conventions, and the annual Fountain City Classic bring in millions of dollars. Those events also impact the hotel industry. The Columbus Bureau say those in town spent an estimated $340 million locally in fiscal year 2015.
But also we find that our meetings and conventions are very strong. It's one of our largest meeting market segments that we work on. They also are the most lucrative, meaning they spend the most money when they're in the destination. And then it just breaks down from military reunions to group leisure travel. Family reunions are really big.
Officials at the CVB say the new dollars that come to the community brings tax relief to help with public services in the city. The tourism study was completed by CSU's Butler Center for Business and Economic Research. For more on the impact tourism has on Columbus, visit this story on our website, WTVM.com. I'm Arisha Jones for WTVM News Leader 9.
All right, thanks so much, Arisha. Turning now to our weather as this cool down. I'm really liking it out there. You know, continues a little bit of a preview of fall, perhaps.
Yeah, 2 questions for Derek and Kay. Will it stay that cool for tomorrow? And how cool are we talking about, Derek?
Well, guys, heading back into tomorrow morning, things won't be as chilly as they were this morning, but we're still talking below average temperatures back down in the low and mid 60s. And then we're trending for another warm afternoon on Thursday. Highs today, very similar to what we're going to see tomorrow. Upper 80s, a few low 90s mixed in. But I think tomorrow the humidity values start to come back up by a little bit. Right now, mostly 70s out there. It's already 69 at Fort Benning, though, 71 in Auburn, and 78 degrees here in the Fountain City. Here's your hour-by-hour breakdown as you're getting ready for school and work early on Thursday morning. No major weather concerns for us whatsoever. Another very pleasant start, but we'll talk about big changes coming up in the forecasts a little bit later on, guys.
All right, Derek, thank you. New reaction today from Phoenix City Mayor Eddie Lowe as city officials addressed concerns over a potential tax hike last night, a sewage issue they believe was aggravated by former administrations who they say install illegal pipes that dump overflow sewage into the Chattahoochee River. Last night, city officials say they took the time to explain the predicament they are in and why a potential hike in sales tax, water and sewage rates, garbage rates, and more could be the answer.
Heard everybody last night, Emily, and the thing that I said, this is business. It's not easy being a servant, but this is business and this is hard.
The mayor speaking to our Emily Arroyo, also stressing that his administration and the city manager were never aware of the illegal sewage dumping and condemned those responsible for the dumping. Well, bus riders in Columbus can look forward to more direct routes on city transportation services. The change is the result of a $22.4 million enhancement project that will provide additional routes and extended hours for the Metro bus service.
The money is being channeled through the Transportation Investment Act, or TSPLOST. Voters gave a thumbs up at the ballot box last June, making Columbus among a few Georgia municipalities to say yes to the plan. New buses will be added to the existing fleet, which will require, of course, new drivers. Coming up here on the news at 11, local authorities need your help to solve a murder case that's growing colder by the minute. More on how you can help put a killer behind bars in tonight's Most Wanted.
Plus, a deadly week for Louisiana law enforcement continues as a police officer dies following a violent rampage in a Louisiana town. The latest details on this incident coming up after the break.
you can count on. This is WTVM News Leader 9.
Well, Phoenix City Police are